Hello everybody. I painted and filmed this fourth head of the 100 head challenge by Ahmed Aldoori. Is that how you say his name? He started this challenge, and I believe he has a YouTube channel. I filmed this as well as painted it, obviously, around February, March of 2023, about a year ago. And the footage has just been sitting in my editor, unused, unloved, because I've been prioritizing making other videos. I haven't made a art paint with me or what would we call this? How I painted something. I haven't done one of these videos in a really long time. And doing it, I realized that I really don't enjoy editing this kind of footage. I did enjoy watching how I painted it. It's been a long time since I'd done watercolor. I've been using acrylic gouache, regular gouache, and colored pencils more for the last, 6 months or so. So it's been a long time since I did watercolor, and it was super helpful for me to look back and see how I was pulling the color out so frequently with the dry brush. I liked watching the watercolor move around the paper like it's doing here. But editing this kind of footage was actually a bit tedious. I actually sometimes listened to other YouTube channels or podcasts while I was editing this because it took almost like so little brain power, which I guess would be a good thing, but I honestly got a little bit bored. Having a little bit of boredom is probably really good for me though, and so I'm not opposed to experiencing it for the sake of the craft. If need be. I don't use a standing desk anymore when I paint. I use a standing desk sometimes when I'm editing, and to be honest, it doesn't move up and down that often. At least it's there if I need it to, and I do it sometimes. Sometimes I edit standing up. These paint with me style videos have not done well on my channel. I don't know if you guys enjoy them. If you do, let me know. But because I'm not super into editing them, and because I haven't gotten an enthusiastic response for them, I'm not sure that I will be prioritizing them. By the way, what I'm doing right here is that I'm wetting down the paper. The paper was completely dry. The watercolor was dry, but I'm wetting down all of the areas that I'm going to paint pretty soon. I'm wetting it down with water only, no paint, just water, because I am going to be adding watercolor and I want it to blend really smoothly. When I forget to wet the paper before I start trying to do the second layer, it can end up really streaky, or it's not a very smooth appearance the way skin is. Now, paintings don't have to be smooth. They can have brush strokes in them. They don't need to look like human skin. But at the time that I was doing this, realism was very important to me. I'm trying to get away from realism and become more expressive. But at the time that I was painting this, I was totally into making things as real as I could get them. When I watch other artists on YouTube painting, I really appreciate seeing their palette because I feel like it helps me understand how much water they've mixed in with their colors, which colors they're using. So I like to show you my palette so that you can get an idea of what colors I'm mixing to create the colors that are on the painting. If that's helpful to you, please let me know. If there are any angles that I missed, please let me know. If I do decide to film and edit a video like this again, it'd be nice to have feedback to let me know what you like and what you don't like, what interests you, what you're trying to learn. I still plan to do the 100 head challenge, but I'm not sure that I will be posting the videos onto YouTube. It would be more likely that you would see me doing some of it in a vlog. I find vlogs to make a lot more sense for me personally because although I highly value art and I would really love for art to be the biggest part of my life, for the past year or so, the biggest part of my life has been treating medical problems and getting myself into a state of greater health. And I'm having some success. I feel I'm making progress, but because I have a chronic illness and lifelong disabilities, there's not necessarily going to be a time where I am experiencing no issues. So a lot of my life is spent figuring out problems and treating symptoms. And I think that vlogs where I'm actually being honest about the background of what I'm experiencing make the most sense to me. Being a content creator is much more time consuming than it looks. The editing process, the filming process takes a lot of time because whatever you're filming, whether it's making your breakfast or eating your breakfast, whatever it is that you're doing, you're going to make whatever that activity is twice as long. But in this case, I'm not doing my everyday activity that I was going to do anyways. I mean, I am because I was going to do art anyways. But if it's my intention to have my content be art, it's going to be difficult to make that art content if what I'm doing is mostly not art. I might be able to find time to do the art, but I might not be able to find the time to do the art plus film the art, because then it'll just take way too long. So hence why I'm saying I might, at least for now, be more focused on vlogs that are a little more holistic and are telling you about what I'm up to in general, not just what I'm up to in an art sort of sense, but what I'm up to in life in general, which might be solving a medical issue. Right now I'm working on quite a few videos about fashion. That's a passion of mine, but also it's a necessity because I gained quite a bit of weight and outgrew a lot of my clothes, and so have had to do more shopping than normal. So I am spending a lot of time thinking about color theory in relation to clothes, not painting. If you look at this painting right here, though, this is totally what I'm would be within my color palette. The other 4 paintings on that you are able to glimpse when the shot's wide are there we go, right here. They're not really my color palette, but this particular painting is. I don't show my younger son's face in videos yet because he isn't 18, and I feel that I really want him to have a clear idea of what he's getting himself into if he is on the internet, because he's on his mom's YouTube channel. I just feel I didn't grow up with that option of being able to say, yeah, mom, put me. By the way, he's given me permission to put him in my videos. And I'm just like, no, I'm not comfortable. I'd rather blur your face until you're 18 or maybe even a little older. I don't know. But I just really want him to have a strong idea of it. However, I've done the 100 head challenge twice. It's not however. It's, oh my gosh, my ADHD segueing here is so obvious. I'm trying not to be embarrassed about it, and I'm trying not to cut it out. And so I'm trying to leave it in here for you. But I always feel awkward when I leave ADHD tangents in. Okay, so when I did the 100 head challenge the first time, my son was 11, and now he is almost 17. No, he is 17, and he really looks like this guy. And I remember drawing this guy during the 100 head challenge and being like, I wonder if my son is going to look like him when he's older. And now that he is older, he does look like this guy. Not a spitting image, but yeah, you'll see one day because one day he'll probably be in my videos. But for now, I like to keep him private. I want to protect his privacy. It's really important to me to maintain boundaries. But it's just a little tidbit about this portrait that I thought was kind of interesting. And it's also really interesting that if I took a picture of my son, he would be my color palette. like dark browns, golden browns, rust. The color I do the painting's lips is a little bit different than the original, but the color in the painting is something that would be in my wardrobe. So yeah, back to what I've been working on a lot lately is, like fashion videos. I don't know if I'll upload them, but I have so much fashion content because I'm like, well, I'm having to do all this anyways. I'm having to do this shopping. I'm spending a lot of time looking at, like I said, color theory, and then other theories that help, like, what is it? The Kibbe body type, I think is what it is. And I feel like my body type has changed a little bit. It hasn't. Your body type's not supposed to change, at least according to Kibbe, but my proportions have changed a little bit. And so it's been useful to like know all of that a little bit when I'm making shopping, purchasing choices, because I prefer to have a minimal wardrobe because it's less overwhelming. It's better for the planet. It's not minimalist, but it's more minimal than it was before I started trying to make it minimal, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So I like to have fewer choices that are high quality in my closet, if at all possible. So, some of that content might be coming your way. Let me know if you'd be into that. I feel like there's a huge overlap between visual art and fashion. In fact, I was sewing clothes and painting on clothes before I started painting on paper. I actually started painting on paper, or at least using markers on paper, so that I could get better at painting on my clothes. And then I was like, wow, paper's a lot more easy to transport. I was taking my son to a lot of different classes at the time, and I wasn't ever in the studio able to sew. So I was just like, you know what, let's switch over to visual art. And I'm really happy I did, because visual art was my original love. I've always loved clothes as well, but I was probably playing dress up and painting as long as I can remember, in equal amounts of time. So I love both dearly, but the fashion world is brutal. Oh my gosh, it's so mean. And I guess the art world can be too, but I feel like the YouTube art world is much kinder. If you like this kind of content, please let me know. My studio is still set up to be filming this kind of content, and I do have some. Mostly I've been sketching my sketchbook, so no finished pieces like this. I don't know if you would call this a finished piece, especially since I actually decided to stop earlier than I normally would. I decided to not over-render it, and I didn't add colored pencil to this piece. I let it be what it felt like at the time unfinished. And I kept thinking, should I add to it? And then I'd just be like, no, I think it's done. I really went back and forth a lot of whether or not this piece was done. So when I'm doing the 100 head challenge, because my goal is at the time, it was to get better at watercolor while doing portraits, I definitely consider them to be finished pieces. My sketchbooks tend to be a lot more playful, and sometimes it could just be a line across the page that I just never went further with. It's not really, that would probably be a thumbnail that just looks like a bunch of chicken scratches. It's not really just a line across the page. I would just paint over that. I would be a waste of paper otherwise. But they're not like this. They're nothing like this. And you let me know. Do you think that the final painting looks final? Does it look finished? Was there something that I could have added to it to make it more complete? I know that the subject's hair is very not true to color. I left it kind of purpley, but I liked the effect. I thought it was interesting, so I just left it. So you let me know. Let me know, did you like this content? Should I keep my filming set up so that I can film this? Do you like how the painting was in the end? I'd love to hear your thoughts, and I'd love to hear if you would be willing to watch more of this kind of thing. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.